All right, guys, welcome back again to the channel. So there's been a couple of reaction coming out right now from the Super Eagles side of things. Of course, we have the playoffs coming up on the 13th, and uh, there have been a lot of talks about that one. Ex-internationals have weighed in on it, and we also have a legendary coach or former coach of the Super Eagles in the person of Buffy Joe has also come out to react to it and has given us a bit of an advice if we want to get the result against this Gabon, but not just Gabon, but also go on to win the final and then go on to win the intercontinental playoffs. And this man is someone that is not a Nigerian, but he keeps weighing in and trying to help every time that he can, of course, because of the history that he has with the country, you know. But again, let's start with what's happening right now in the camp. Of course, Kucharisha hasn't released this list, but this week is the week that we will finally get to see the final 23-24 man squad being released. And on that front, there's actually been a couple of positive stories, because some of the players have now returned back for their club side. Some players that were out injured, talk about the likes of Rafael Onyedika, who came back this week to make some appearances for his club, for Club Brugge, as they played in over the weekend, and he's also released a statement, after that game to talk about, the fact that he's obviously very happy that he came back right on time to be available, not just for the Super Eagles, but they have a game in midweek, a Champions League game against Barcelona. It's a very very important match, and Club Brugge really needed to have Rafael Onyedika back in the midfield for them. So he said that the medical team of the Club Brugge worked really hard with him. They were just trying to do everything that they can to make sure that he recovers in time to give them an extra quality in the midfield against this Barcelona game. So that is what's happening. He went on injury in September in a match versus Westerlo, and right now he's back and ready to make appearance in this Champions League game. But this is what Rafael Onyedika has come out to say ahead of the Barca game. He said, "Barca game won't be an easy one, of course, but everyone here in Bruges is looking forward to it. We know what is coming, but we can't be afraid of any team. I worked very hard with the medical staff to return as soon as possible, and today I was able to make my comeback. It's not easy to sit on the sidelines because of injury and watch your teammates play, but of course, I had no other choice." That is what the man said, and he's very, very happy to be back now again and fit to help his club side against Barcelona on Wednesday. That's the day of the match. So that's just one of it. Of course, we saw Sabachukwueze is also um, coming back from a minor injury that he got in the Benin Republic game. He featured for Fulham over the weekend, and they had a very fantastic result. Cruising 3 goals to 0 over Wolverhampton Wanderers. So that's it right now. But again, we still have a couple of players who are more or less out right now and may not really be able to recover in time to be included into the list. We talk about Ola Aina, who's still in major doubts, for these November games, and then you talk about Terra Murphy, you talk about Felix Agu, and so on and so forth. Kelechi Iheanacho as well. So these players are heavy doubts. I'm not sure they are going to make this list. But then to talk about the list, there've been some, very strong updates coming out right now, and the update is that Akin Samiro Ebenezer has been given a call up by Coach Eric Shaw. He's among, one of the youngsters to have been given the shot to actually make their debut in this November. That's the report. Except anything changes internally and then he's removed from the final 2024 man list, he's expected to make the squad, because he's been performing a lot, recently, and even in their last game, he had a very very good match. Won 8 out of 9 duels, and then had a very high rating in that match. 7.0 was his rating, one of the best on the night. So this man has really done enough to be noticed, and rightfully so. Everybody's noticing him, and NFF with Eric Shell as well. I've noticed him, so this might just be his big break coming. Except there's a change, due to circumstances, maybe injury or some sort of squad reshuffling. But it's going to be interesting, guys. When the list finally comes out, and we get to see the people that make that one. But let's move on, guys, and talk about the legendary ex-coach of the Super Eagles, Bonfi Joe, who has now come out to give a bit of an advice to Coach Eric Shell and the Super Eagles players. This time around, he has decided to jump in support of Stanley Nwabali and has told Coach Eric Shell, to offer more support to Stanley Nwabali, to train the guys in a way that they have to offer more support to Nwabali to protect him. Train in a way that would offer Stanley Nwabali more protection. But Fijo believes that the reason Stanley Nwabali is having a bad spell right now, especially in the Super Eagles, is that he has been made to be exposed way too frequently. That the defenders are allowing him to be exposed way too much, and that is really affecting his confidence and his performance. You know, uh, in recent times, this is what Bonfi Joe has said. In his words, he said it's important for the defense to effectively protect the goalkeeper. This is not only the responsibility of the defenders, but of every player, defenders, midfielders, attackers, and they must come back on time to help defense. Just as the defenders assist during attack, and then he continues, this must start from training. The coach needs to give instruction to the players on what to do, and they must practice them. The team must be well organized. When you expose the goalkeeper too much and he faces too much pressure, he's bound to make mistakes, and that could be costly for the team. So this is what Sir Bonfrey Joe, the legendary coach of the Super Eagles, has uh, given us as a piece of an advice. And I'm just so happy, hearing this man every time that he steps in to advise the Super Eagles, even though he's not a Nigerian, he's a white man, but he is someone that always looks out for us. He loves Nigeria, he loves the team, and he always wants to see us win, which is why he has now come out to give this great piece of advice. I hope Coach Eric Shell can, consider this and then factor it in when he's training these guys. Of course, it's the obvious thing. Stanley Wabali needs more protection. Yes, he has to be doing a lot better personally, when he has the opportunity, when he's called to question, one on ones, um, set pieces, area uh, actions, and all of that. He has to be doing better, and especially uh, again in the aspect of communicating with his players, because it seemed to have gone wrong in the last couple of games. So these are the things that the player needs to work on by himself. It's not like he didn't have these things, or it's not like he doesn't have it. He has it. We've seen him play and use these qualities before, but it just kind of felt like he has lost confidence and lost these qualities. But Bonfi Joe is saying that he can regain these qualities and confidence back if the players help him and take the pressure off him. And then moving forward, and in a similar light, ex Super Eagles midfielder, the man that actually helped us with his goals, to win the 2013 Nations Cup, scored in the semis and then scored in the finals against Burkina Faso in the final. And I think Ivory Coast was in the semis. I'm talking about Sunday, but he has also come out to give his piece on what he thinks the Super Eagles should do to qualify and get the World Cup ticket. He thinks that the team has had it really bad, especially in the group stages, but things has really worked well for them, especially after that 4-0 victory against Benin Republic. He believes that the team has got the momentum back, and that they should continue in that spirit, and that they should not lose guard, because that's the right spirit that can actually get them to the finish line. And anything short of that, any performance that is not in the standard of the last performance against Benin Republic, is very dangerous and could make us lose that opportunity. So this is what he said in his own word: let us bring the same spirit from the last game against Benin. If we have the same spirit, we will qualify. But if anything should happen to that spirit, it is shaky. That is the perfect spirit we need now because we are in a tight corner. That's his own piece of advice to the team. Of course, there are lots of advice coming from ex-internationals and stakeholders, and it's just left for Coach Eric to screen all this advice and pick out the ones that he feels that he needs to touch on to get the Super Eagles in the best shape ahead of this game against Gabon on the 13th of November.